snow. Okay, so I've just got to Battersea Park where I'm going to do my track or interval session for today. I call it a track session even though I do it on this beautiful stretch of road right here. And the current weather I think is either -1 or -2. Guys, it's snowing at the moment. I don't know if you can tell from the video, but yeah, it's just started and it's getting heavier and heavier, so it'll probably get heavier the deeper into the session I go. It's weird to think just 10 days ago I was in South Africa where it was about 35 degrees and now it's -2. But yeah, let me showcase what this track session is all about. Time to get warm properly, crucial when it's cold like this. Today I'll be taking one gel, one Science and Sports normal gel today, which is around 22 grams of carbs. And in my marathon sessions, I take a beta fuel gel, which is around 40 grams of carbs. Let's get warm. Let's go do it. Come with me. Okay, so I cannot underestimate the importance of warm-up for these track and interval sessions. Remember, it should be the fastest session you're doing in the week. Here I'm doing some high knees, some A skips, some B skips. It's -2 in London. Here I'm doing some crossovers. And the crucial part is you want to start the first rep warm. You want to be nailing it from the first rep. I've done about 5Ks warm up till this point. However, after a quick chat to the camera, I've cooled down. So here I am doing some opening the gates, closing the gate drills, really getting the body nice and warm for that first rep. You don't want to be pulling anything. And finally some stride outs and we're good to go. So, about to get started. Have the gel at the start. Once the watch beeps, there ain't no going back. 3, 2, 1, let's go. I'm so glad you can see the snow on this video. It does get harder as we go along. It wasn't heavy snow, but it was definitely cold enough to keep the tank very cool. And I just want to showcase to you the session, exactly what you should be thinking in these sessions, what you should concentrate in order to make them as productive as possible. I'm not going to add any music to this video for two purposes. One, a lot of people watching the channel actually prefer just that beautiful sound of your feet striking the ground. And number two, I really will give you a good idea of just how much I'm working, how much I'm suffering, and give you a good feel of exactly where I'm at. So this first rep is crucial, all right, for two reasons. One, you want to make sure you're nice and warm and you're hitting your expected paces from the first rep. And number two, it actually sets the bar for your session to come. It's almost like that first kilometer in a 5K. It's really important to hit the right pace because it determines the rest of your race. That's sort of the first session within a track session. That first kilometer or first rep really does count a lot in order to determining how much effort is going to go in throughout the session. Just a bit of advice out there for track sessions. When it's snowing like this, put on shorts, put on a vest, get yourself a pair of arm sleeves, and it makes you fly in order to stay warm. If I was doing an easy run, 100% would have worn tights. I wore tights the next day in pretty similar conditions. But for a track and interval session, short sleeves, full sends, let's go. Tell me if you think I'm weird by calling it a track session, but actually doing it on road. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. I do my track sessions here in Battersea on the stretch of road for three reasons. One, I'm targeting a 5K, which is actually on this exact stretch of road, this exact loop. Number two, it's pretty much as flat as a track for me, so I can get the leg speed going. Number three, it's about 5Ks warm up to the top of Battersea. If I go to the track, it's an extra kilometer. 6Ks there is a little bit too much, so I'd rather the legs be a bit fresher for this crucial session, because the quality and the speed, that's the point of the session, not mileage.
Let's go.
Here we are getting to the end of the first 3-minute set, 3:11 per kilometer pace, which is probably round about my half marathon effort. It's a good starting point and progression from here. 4, 2, 1, rep number 2. Okay, so now is a great time to talk about the exact session I have planned. So it's 4 times 3 minutes, 4 times 2 minutes, 4 times 1 minute, and 8 times 30 seconds. Recovery for the 3-minute rep, 2-minute rep, and 1-minute rep is 1 minute, and recovery for the 30 seconds is 30 seconds. Technically, as the reps get shorter, the speed should get quicker relative to the effort. I really like these down the ladder sessions. They're a great way to ramp up the speed without creating too much fatigue. Remember, if you want to race progression, as in do an equal to negative split within your race, you need to train for it. You need to start off at a certain pace within these sessions and get faster throughout as the sessions go on. It's the way the world's best train, it's the way the Ingebrigtsens train, and it's the way a lot of us should train. Always look to make the last rep your fastest. Okay, now to discuss exactly how hard you should be working. Within a tempo session, you want to be working hard, but very comfortably tough. Okay, somewhere sort of between 80 to 85%. However, this is not a tempo session. This is a track or interval session. We're doing a lot of speed at faster than target marathon pace. It should be the quickest session you do within the week. Hence why we have static or easy jog recoveries, so we can really nail those reps. And you want to be starting off at around 85% effort, finishing off between 95 and 97% effort. So you can always find something extra for a race day, but you're working extremely hard and getting the most out of the session. My total track volume for today's session is around 28 minutes. I'm targeting a shorter distance race initially and then progressing all the way through to the marathon distance after that. Anything between sort of 16 minutes to 28 minutes for shorter distance training is perfect. Once I start increasing my training and focusing on Manchester Marathon from about 8 weeks out, these track and interval sessions will change dramatically. I'll start doing longer reps. They won't be as fast, but the volume will significantly increase, probably from about 28 minutes all the way through to around 46 minutes or around 15 kilometers worth of track volume. But for now, the main purpose is to really ramp that speed up, hence why I'm cutting down from 4 minutes down to 30 seconds, and I'm hoping for the 30-second reps to be a lot faster than target race pace, where I'm going to try and attempt a 5k PB, which is 14:34. Okay, so here we're coming up to rep number 3, the third minute rep, and this is a really crucial point that I'm about to tell you. So pacing wise, I had in my mind that I wanted to do around 309 or 310 for these reps. Okay, the first one was 311, the second one was 312. So I wasn't exactly hitting paces right from the beginning, not far off. However, the effort levels are there, and that's what truly counts. Sometimes in these sessions you'll nail paces, sometimes you won't, but the most consistent thing that needs to stick with you is that the effort levels are there, and if you're showing up and really putting in that effort, that's what counts. I know it can be really confusing because a lot of runners want a specific pace for each rep and can't understand running to effort. But by that, what I mean is within that 85 to 95% range. It's still fairly on in the session, so I'm probably working at around 88 to 90%, and that's going to progressively ramp up as the session goes on. I'm sure you can hear in the background, but this guy was absolutely chainsawing this monster tree just off my path. I also highly encourage you to build these track or interval sessions as a workout into your watch prior to doing them. That way you can fully focus on the task at hand, and you don't need to be checking your watch every 5 or 10 seconds to see whether you're nearing the end of the rep. Your watch will beep before telling you that the rep's going to end, and it'll beep at the start telling you the next rep's going to start. It allows you to fully focus on the session and the task at hand. This section over here was quite tough. It was windy and snow was coming straight on into my face. So when these things happen, it's really good. It's good for training because this can happen in a race, remember? And the main thing is that effort must stay consistent. So sometimes paces will get a little bit slower, sometimes they'll be a little bit faster. I'll show you an overall analysis of my pacing graph and you'll know exactly where the wind's behind and wind's in front. But the one thing that remains constant is that effort levels are there. Getting towards the end of the third rep, and it's 309 per kilometer pace, so quite nice. I'm happy with this. I was able to ramp up slightly from the first 2 reps. 2, 1.
Let's go.
Okay, this is the last of the big boys, the last 3-minute set of the 4, and that's why I really like these down the ladder sessions. 1, they allow you to ramp up speed, but 2, they're also mentally easier to break down, because the further into the session you go, you know the reps are getting smaller. We've knocked out a big chunk after this, 12 minutes of the 28 minutes, and onto the 2-minute reps we go after this.
To your left.
On this note, let me just give a quick shout out to Amy for filming this on the bike. You absolute legend. I know that I had the easy part running this interval session. You filming on the bike, way harder. Thank you so much. Am I able to practice what I preach and progress my speed as the interval session goes on? Or is it going to be one giant YouTube fail and I actually hit a wall and cannot? If that happens, who cares? It's all training. We go again, but let's see if I can do it. I'm actually not in peak shape at the moment. I've come off a 6-week vacation in South Africa. I'm nowhere near my peak shape, but I always want to showcase my ups and downs. I don't just want to film stuff when I'm in shape. Running is tough for me, for you, for all of us. And I can't wait to reach the highest levels again, but you have to work hard through these sessions. So if you're not in tip-top shape, don't worry, you're not alone, but trust me, there's only one way to get there, and that's for us to go get it. Setting your mind before these sessions is crucial. You put your body through a whole lot of pain, and if the mind is prepared for it and you've played it through in your mind, it's often a whole lot easier to handle when it happens. So all of our lives are crazy. If your life is crazy and you've got a session coming up, try and take 5 to 10 minutes where you listen to a song, get in the zone and prepare the mind, because once the mind is prepared, it's a lot easier for the body to execute. Now, it's also important to think of things that motivate you and bring out the best in you during these sessions. Often if I've had a stressful week or stressful event, I think about it and I almost burn that steam on these sessions. You come out feeling a whole lot better and it helps you really focus. I know at this point in time, actually, I did a race here a couple of months ago where I was in second place. A runner came past me at a hell of a speed. Congrats to him. I think he finished at 2:55 per kilometer. But that was motivation for me right here to think, actually, if that ever happens again, can I stick with him? Can I go with him? Nick, you can train harder, you can be better. And it's always you versus you, but that healthy competition and using others to bring out the best in you is also super important. So that's what's going through my mind in this part right here. Okay, so into the 2-minute reps we go. Even though I'm not halfway through the session, feels like it's downhill from here, mentally easy to break down. So much of running is in the mind. Remember, your mind can always push your body further than what you think you can. Running through these people in Battersea Park, up and down, and they've got snow coats and beanies and gloves. They must think this person in shorts and a vest is an absolute nutter. But hey, my heart rate's at around 170 beats per minute, and I promise you I'm actually sweating. Apart from the hands being a little bit cold, the engine is warm. Okay, now onto the shoes that I'm wearing for this session. Adizero Prime X Strung 2s. Massive fan of the shoe. However, it's illegal to race in the elite and sub-elite field with the shoe due to the 50mm drop. Remember, the legal limit is 40mm. However, I use this shoe for 2 reasons. 1, it helps me hit good leg speed, and you want to hit good leg speed in these sessions. And 2, it helps me recover a whole lot quicker than when doing them in other shoes. I've had a history of quite a tight Achilles in the past, and I found that if I smash out interval sessions in the shoe, recovery is so much quicker and I feel really good the next day. However, I do limit myself to running in these shoes just once a week because I don't want to get the body too used to them. If you've never run in Prime X Strungs or Strung 2s, I highly recommend getting a pair. They're really, really good, and trust me, you'll thank me for it. Remember, you want to limit the amount of time you're running in carbon fiber shoes, also known as super shoes. I encourage you to do your track and interval sessions in them, tempo sessions, even your quality longer runs in super shoes. However, all the easy recovery stuff in between, you want to be running in easy everyday shoes without carbon fiber in them. Your body and your feet specifically uses different muscles when running in non-carbon fiber shoes, and it strengthens those little muscles that you wouldn't necessarily use when running in carbon shoes. So don't overdo them, save them for harder sessions and save them for race day. The snow is getting harder, it's picking up, but the pace is picking up to exactly what the doctor ordered. That first rep, 303 per kilometer. Happy with that for these 2-minute intervals. This is sort of somewhere between my 5 and 10k effort. Can I sustain it though through the next remaining 3? Okay, so here's a few tips for you to focus on during an interval session. I'm not going to overload you with information, otherwise it can be too much to take in. But some of the things I think about is you really want to drive your arms. So from your pockets to your shoulders, you want to keep your arms at a 90-degree angle. I've had a tendency in the past, and as you can see here, I'm breaking that 90-degree angle. It's not the be-all and end-all, but it is something that I can work on. And you really want to drive those arms. If you drive those arms, the legs follow. A tip to focus on the legs, think about pointing your toes in the air. If you do that naturally, you flick your legs up and you have a better stride. I also highly encourage you to do 2 things. 1, try and get a friend to video record you. Once you've seen how you look, you're conscious of the mistakes you're making. Remember, very few of us love our running form. We've all got our individual styles. And number 2, have a look at what Eliud Kipchoge runs like. And in your mind, when you do these sessions, try and replicate his form. Of course, I'm not replicating his form, but in my mind, I am. Getting towards the end of the second 2-minute rep, once again, 302, managed to sustain what the first rep was. I think as I get fitter throughout the year, ideally for these 2-minute reps, I want that to be sub 3, but I just have to accept that's where I'm at, and I'm not going to push paces to try and hit that because I want to keep the session productive and avoid hitting a wall. Okay, into the third 2-minute rep, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. My 5k PB pace is 2:55 per kilometer. Remember, I want to try and break 14:34 in 6 weeks time, and that scares me. I don't know if there's enough time, to be honest. However, I have to believe, I have to train for it. And at the end of the day, what's the worst thing that can happen? I can fall a bit short of it and there'll always be another race. So if you're in a similar position where you've hit levels you have in the past and you're not quite there, trust me, let's give it all we got. Let's back ourselves. But if we don't get there, it's not the end of the world. However, we'll never ever forgive ourselves if we don't give it a shot. We just want to look back at life in one day and think, I gave that my all. I gave that one damn good shot.
Really nice neck.
Remember, in the social media world, people showcase what they want. They show you what you want to see. And often we see PBs, good sessions, and people tend to not showcase the downs and the hard times. Often it can give us motivation when we see people smashing it, but it can also bring you down when you're not on top of your game. So if you're struggling, a lot of us struggle, like 95% of the time. We showcase what we want to showcase. I want to showcase my highs and lows. Like I said, my 5k PB pace actually scares me. I did that 2 years ago. I've since then become a double dad. A lot has changed, but I'm really keen and motivated this year to try and reach those levels again. Third rep in the bag, 303. Can't ask for much more consistency than that. I'm suffering, I'm alone, but actually at the end of the day, I'm not alone. Amy's on the bike and I know you guys are there with me in spirit. Often I'll say teamwork makes the dream work, and for these sessions it makes a huge difference if you have one person to work with, and more so if you have a group of people to work with. You can share the work between you, share the reps. It doesn't seem as monotonous. It definitely, you put in slightly less effort for the paces that you hit. However, I'm in a position where with nursery drop and collection and 2 little ones, I can't afford to train in a group just yet. That'll come back. So the majority of my training needs to be solo. And if you are doing your session solo, it's also completely fine. Remember, it makes you mentally tough. In a race, you're going to go through a lot of sessions that you do solo. However, if you can find a group or community to do this with, these sorts of sessions, I highly encourage you to find one. Here we are at the end of the fourth 2-minute rep, 302 per kilometer, so the fastest of the lot. Paces are getting slightly quicker. We've done 20 minutes worth of volume. We've got 8 minutes left, but it's the most crucial 8. It's the fastest 8 minutes of the training, and this is where the magic made. This is what differentiates you from your competitors, you from your PBs, and you versus you. This is what you use those mental reserves for in this final 8 minutes right here. Think of it almost as kilometer 3.5 to kilometer 5 of the 5k. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Okay, here we are into the 1 minute reps. As you can see, the acceleration off the mark is significantly quicker. I actually think I got carried away in the beginning part here, and it takes a little while for the bike to catch up. So it's always good to look at the stats post session and analyze exactly what went wrong and what went right and what you need to work on. So if you look at the average cadence here, 174, it's recommended you have around 180 cadence or so. Remember, that includes warm up and cool down and a few drills, so I'm very happy with that. Stride length, remember, speed is a combination of cadence and stride length, so if you can keep your cadence the same and increase your stride length slightly, you will get faster, something I'm definitely working on. Vertical ratio and vertical oscillation, that's how high you're bouncing off the ground. If you look at the Kipchoge's of the world, his head stays super still. Me, in these prime X's, I'm bouncing a little bit higher than what I'd like to, but once again, something to work on. And balance, all right? You can see here, I'm 52% on the right foot, 48% on the left. I've always been right side dominant, but that's amazing because it's a single leg sport and I really need to put in that strength work on the left side, which I've been trying to do. Okay, the marker is set for the 1 minute reps. First one I did in 2:54. It's probably somewhere between my 3K and 5K efforts. Now to see if I can sustain that for the remaining ones. This way, I don't know if you can see from the video, was definitely into a bit of a headwind, so significantly tougher than the other way. End of the second 1 minute rep, and it's 2:56. If you give me that average for the 5K in 6 weeks time, I would probably take it. I would fall just short of my PB, but no, actually, let me not take it. Let me work harder and try and turn that 2:56 into 2:54. So now onto the recovery for these sessions. So recoveries should be either static or a very easy jog or walk between reps. In this instance, I did a super easy jog, because it was snowing, icy, and I wanted to keep the legs warm. But the point of the recovery is to drop the heart rate as low as possible. In that recovery, recover as much as possible in order to hit the best possible leg speed in the next rep whilst working hard without emptying the tank. Rep number 3 and rep number 4 for the 1 minutes were 2:53 and 2:55 per kilometer. Happy with that and progressing quite nicely. Now onto the short, sharp 30-second reps. Right now I'm thinking this is the last kilometer of a race. Absolutely everything you've got. Okay, quite a strange thing that happened to me during these 30-second reps, and I'm actually glad that I'm filming and showcasing it, but I ended up getting a stitch. I know exactly what the problem is. Fueling is crucial for these sessions. I had 2 bagels with peanut butter on, and I had them about half an hour before getting out the door for the session, so probably around an hour and 15 minutes before my session. You want to allow at least 2 to 3 hours before your session for that food to digest properly. Another tip for these sessions is try and not look at your watch too soon within the rep. Remember, GPS can be quite jumpy early on, and the further into the rep you get, the more it corrects itself. So I always aim for around halfway through the rep before I try and look at the pace to gauge exactly where I'm at. Okay, so I've showcased a lot during the session. Hopefully it gives you a good idea on how hard to work for these interval sessions, how to approach them, how to train smart and keep them productive. If there's any other sessions you would like me to showcase or speak through, please let me know. I'm on a mission this year to help as many runners out there improve as I can. It's a tough sport. It's a very tough sport. But one thing that running has taught me is that nothing ever in life comes for free. You have to go out there, you have to work hard and go get it. I use my approach in running and I use that approach towards life. It's a recipe for success. I highly encourage you to do the same. Here's a look at what my heart rate did throughout the session. You can see the spikes per rep. So my heart rate high was 173, which was around 92% of my heart rate max. Hey, maybe I didn't actually push hard enough this session, but actually no, effort levels were there. It was the really icy cold air that helped keep that heart rate low. And remember, London is only 11 meters above sea level, so very low altitude. My last rep was the fastest, 2:47 per kilometer, the dream goal, 5K pace. Imagine, everything starts with a dream, gotta believe.
However, I'm not going to do a voiceover in that last rep. I want you to see just how hard I was pushing and be with me in that moment.
Oh boy, sure. Wow, that burns and hurts so beautifully. Yeah, you know, the magic is made in these sessions. I'm sure I gave you good insights into exactly what was going through my mind throughout the session, but on race day, you're going to give it all you got. In training, that's where it's made. It started snowing quite heavy in the 2-minute reps. Hopefully you got to see it quite there, so definitely one to remember. Most importantly, I felt in control the whole time. Pretty much the middle 30-second reps I got a stitch, but apart from that, really in control, which is good. And yeah, onwards and upwards. Massive shout out to Amy over here. How was it on the bike?
Yeah, cold but fun.
Thank you so much.
Beat Nick on the bike, but didn't make it.
Is it nice to see a coach suffering out there?
It is, yeah, definitely.
Cool.
He worked hard.
Thanks so much. Absolute legend.